All right. So the last section that we're going to take a look at in this chapter is section 7.6, and it's solving systems of inequalities. So you've done you've done inequalities on a coordinate plane. That was what section 6.8 was. That was the quiz that you guys had done for last chapter. So the only difference between these is that you are going to have two graphs on the same graph. So you're going to have two sets of shading. I need to see both sets of shading and not just where they overlap. Okay, so you might want to use two colors. So if you'd like to use a pencil and a pen, that would be fine, or a highlighter and a pen, or two different highlighters, or something like that, that's fine too. Or if you just want to shade in two different directions, that works as well. Okay, so for example, if I'm going to graph something like, let's do y is less than 2, and let's do y is greater than x minus 2. We want to go ahead and we want to put all of these on the same coordinate plane. So remember our rules. Let's make this one or equal to, actually. Okay, remember our rules when we're graphing. We're going to graph these lines just like we've been graphing them. You really want to remember, though, that y equals lines that don't have an x with them are lines that go straight across. So I'm going to where y is 2 on the y-axis, and I'm going to go draw a line going straight across. Remember, it's not or equal to, so it's going to be a dashed line. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to plug in a point. So I'm going to plug in 0, 0. If I do that, I'm going to get 0 is less than 2. Is that true? Yes, it is. 0 is less than 2, so I want to shade below the line. You want to make sure you're shading the whole region, because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to come across things where they don't overlap. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to graph my other line. So I get y is greater than x minus 2. So that's going to start down at negative 2. My slope here is 1, so I want to go up 1 over 1, or down 1, back 1. It's a solid line because it's or equal to. So I can go ahead and draw my line in. I also want to plug in. I'm going to get 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 2. So 0 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Is that true? Yes, it sure is. So I want to shade over here. If I can tell where they overlap, then you're good to go. If it helps to circle where they overlap, then go ahead and do that. But I will be looking for both shadings and not just where they overlap. So again, I'll be able to tell if you're just copying the answers from somewhere, because you'll just be giving me the section where they overlap. I don't want that. All right. So here is another one. So let's go ahead and graph. Let's do y is less than negative 2x plus 4, and y is less than or equal to 2x plus 4. Okay, so I can go ahead and I can graph that. So if I want to graph this, I'm going to start my line. I'm going to start the first one up at positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. My slope is negative 2, which is going to go down 2 over 1, or up 2, back 1. It's a dashed line. If I plug in, I'm going to get 0 is less than negative 2 times 0, which is 0 plus 4. So I get 0 is less than 4. Is that true? It sure is. So I want to go ahead, I want to cover 0, 0. My other line, I'm going to also start that at 4, but my slope is positive 2, so up 2 over 1, or down 2, back 1. This is a solid line this time. If I plug in, I'm going to get 0 is less than 4. Is that true? Yes, it sure is. I want to cover 0, 0, so it overlaps in this section over here. The only other thing I want to tell you is it is possible to get no solution for these. So, for example, if you have, excuse Sophie playing with her toys, if you have a graph that when you graph it, Parallel lines don't automatically mean no solution because they could be shaded in the middle of them. But sometimes you're going to get lines that look like this. So you'll have a line here, and it's shaded on the outside, and then you're going to get a line over here, and it's also shaded on the outside. So these shadings will never overlap, so this would be an example of no solution. If they were both shaded in the middle, then of course they would be overlapping in the middle, so it's a possibility when you have parallel lines. But otherwise your lines should be overlapping.